On page 86, somebody who comes into a tunnel, into a house, right? He tunnels into a house, so he's a real burglar. He's judged based on his end, meaning that since he might well kill the balabas, so therefore he, in fact, is himself free game for the balabas to kill.
So now, is this the Ganav or the Gaza?
There's a Ganav. No, it's a Ganav. There's a Ganav. Yeah, absolutely Ganav. Right. The furtiveness makes him a Ganav. He was coming in secrecy, through telling it, and he broke a jug. If he's in a situation, and more we'll discuss, where killing him incurs the death penalty for the balabas, then there's no killing rabbinay, right? Then Chayav, he himself is liable to pay. If he's in a situation where the balabas can kill him, which again will be discussed in a more, but then killing rabbinay, since he's subject to the death penalty, he's exempt from monetary payment. Tanya Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel said, there's one of the three psukim which is stated in the Torah, which is a parable or a metaphor. One of them is it says if the person who was hurt by his fellow man, God gets up and walks outside on his staff. So that's a metaphor. It doesn't literally have to walk outside his staff, meaning that he recuperates somewhat from the injury and is not doesn't die shortly thereafter, or it's not apparent that he died because of the injury. The second one is haganav. If you find him in the tunnel, which is not literally a tunnel. And the third one is same place actually. If the sun comes up over him, damim lo, then the sun comes up, the burglar though, so then the person who kills him is liable. What does it mean? The sun comes up over him. Does the sun shine only on the burglar? The sun shines on on all those people in the world. The shining of the sun is unique because it brings peace to all the people in the world. And as long as you know that you have peace from this individual, whether he comes at day or night is immaterial. Rather, because you know that he's not going to kill you, somebody who kills him is killed. And then one of the Bavli, Yerushalmi really doesn't give this distinction. Maybe Yerushalmi doesn't hold this distinction. But the Bavli gives the famous distinction between a father who's coming to burgle from his son, and a son who's coming to burgle from his father. The son coming to burgle from his father may well kill the father, and therefore his blood is, you can kill him. A father coming to burgle from the son, he's not going to kill the son, and therefore you can't kill him. Okay, that's the famous distinction of the Bavli. Yerushalmi doesn't seem to make that distinction. It assumes that there's certain people who will kill you and certain people not, but it doesn't make distinction. As far as I recall from comparing this, it doesn't really make a distinction between the father, son, to continue on. Okay? So Naaman, so it says, sometimes he just comes to steal. Sometimes he comes to kill. Or Marta, you say, im boligno vadai, for harag, if he came to kill for certainty. In other words, he didn't come to kill you. And you killed him. Hargo neharag. Right? Then the person who kills him is killed. Because you knew he wasn't coming to kill you, he was just coming to steal from you. Sometimes he comes to kill, then he himself is killed. Okay, when you know the burglar is coming to take the risk of killing you, then he himself is killed. From the license to kill the burglar to save the balabas, you derive even in a suffix, right? You don't know.
Well, shoot first, ask questions later. You're not going to stick around and ask him if you come to burgle or to kill him.
Yeah. I was just thinking. I read the last sentence wrong. Let me go back and read the last sentence. Martha, you say like this: Shimboli gno vadai, Oh, if you know for sure only that's to do with steal, v'harag, and you killed him, ha'hargo neharag. The person who killed him is killed. If it's a guy who probably comes to burgle, but may well occasionally he would have in mind to kill you. So even though it's a suffix neharag, you're entitled to kill him. Okay. Mikan from here down bikoach nefesh, and mekavachon bikoach nefesh. Uma should be shvichus damim, not about a zar. Shvichus damim, all the portion change it. If murder Yuchedesh imetamas haaretz is unique in that it is considered to defile the land. It says that the Chumash says it defiles the land to murder. Muchedesh Hashem causes chil Hashem, Musagas Hashem that removes and eradicates the divine presence. The dochim bas a suffix. Here we push aside the suffix and we kill the bab machteres. You know, maybe they never mind to kill you, but in the suffix, right? Shoot first, ask questions later, right? Koshkein pikuach nefesh because the suffix certainly is suffix pikuach nefesh. You don't take any chances, and you take Shabbos, you take whatever mitzvah in the Torah is necessary in order to do the Safik Bikur Nefesh. Okay? See if it says, if you find the God in a tunnel, and he's smitten, and he's killed, ain't lo damim, then you're not liable for it. Rabbi Chia learned in the Brayso, if you kill him in the tunnel, then you're not liable. He literally has no blood. If it's outside the machteres, then there is blood, and that's the way the Rambam paskins. There's a machlokas Rambam Ravid exactly how to paskin, but that's the way the Rambam paskins. You've got to be right now in the compromising situation, being in the machteres. Okay, Rishon Bar Yochai argues. I don't recall it's from the Bavli. I didn't look in the Bavli today, but I don't recall it's from the Bavli. Tanya Yerushalmi Sanhedrin Omer. It's a busy day today. I went to get my window fixed on my van. On the way there, I had a flat tire. so it was not that much time to prepare today.
You didn't have to fight on the highway.
Yeah. Tanya Yerushalmi Sanhedrin. Good year. No good. Good year. Tanya Yerushalmi Sanhedrin says, I feel chutz machteres. Even outside the machteres, ein lo damim, which is pretty, but it's really licensed to kill. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. In other words, even you find them about to embark on the burglary or after the burglary, you can still kill him, right? While pishammono shalodam chavi olav kanafsho. This B'nai in all its glory. That's right, black and white. People love their money like their soul. So therefore, the burglar nechamile ozil boy lemei it's a natural reaction. The Barbas sees the burglar coming to take his money minay from him. The koyim olav the kotle, and therefore he rises up against him and kills him. What do you expect? Okay.
This isn't in the Bible, is it?
No, it's not in the Bible. Rishon Bar Yochai, it's not in the Bible. That's what I said. It's not in the Bible. Okay. Rav Huna man natal kis ba'avach is upon of latzeis. Rav Huna is the natural extension of Rishon Bar Yochai. Again, the Ram does the basket this way. Rav Huna man natal kis. Even the burglar took the wallet and turned his face latzeis to go out for halachlo. And he was going out. And the victim of the burglary stood over him and killed him. The person who kills him is not killed. My time of why? My time of what's his logic? His heart has been heated up by the situation, so it's a natural knee-jerk reaction. It's not considered to be liable to the death penalty. So in essence, actually, if you think about it, the Kohen Rabbuna, you actually have this concept which normally don't have in halacha, the dichotomy between second degree, first, second, third degree murder, right? Because first degree murder is cold-blooded murder, third degree premeditated, third degree murder is, of course, accident, and second degree murder, as we have here, is in fact a case where you are the heat of the moment, right? So that's really what it says here, that we have such a concept. I don't think we pass, as I mentioned already a couple of times, I don't think we pass on Rabbeinu, we pass on Rabbi Chia, but it's interesting perspective. Rav said, "Call the ICLA on a katule. Anybody who comes upon me to steal, I'm going to kill. Chutz mi Hanani ben Shila, except for Hanani ben Shila, who was one of the Amoraim. Dani Yod, I know the law. Asi ela mesim meguste minei. He's only coming to steal my meal. In other words, I know he likes me so much he wouldn't kill me. So again, we don't have this dichotomy the Bible has between father and anybody else, but here he has this dichotomy between a person he knows is not going to kill him and anybody else. I mean, it's said in a much more cynical view of human nature. Became into also since his heart has become so bold within him to do this thing and come steal from you, he's not Hanani ben Sheila anymore. In other words, he was once your friend, right? But now he's burgling you, this is no friend of yours anymore, and therefore, by definition, the compromising position he places himself in, you cannot trust him. Okay? And you can kill him as a result.
I'll just add a new principle. It's now nothing to do with economics, but murder is matami de oretz, so that would be a reason why you think you would want to kill him. But my corollary to that, my principle is, if the oretz is going to be matami with blood, let it be his blood, not my blood. So I'm going to kill him first.
Yeah, I'll kill him first. That's good. Good point. Okay.
That's the Dr. Albert Schweitzer.
Yeah, right. Okay. Says the for the Mishnah further. Elish, what did he say? Anything about coming tonight? Is the game tonight? Right. Okay. These are people who you save by killing their pursuers. Somebody pursues his friend to kill him. Somebody pursues a homosexual for homosexual relations. Well, actually, not. The pursuer is the homosexual. Somebody's pursuing a male for homosexual relations. Somebody's pursuing a girl in order to rape her. Naram Rasa literally means a betrothed girl, but it seems that would be any type of girl. I think Naram Rasa is just an example, basically
any damsel.
Any damsel. Actually, it's a Machlokes Bavli Yerushalmi would seem. I should reveal that now, because it seems to the Bavli seems to hold that it's because of the Avera, the severity of the Avera. In which case, in Stama rape, it would seem that you would not be allowed to save the damsel in distress by killing the rapist. But the Yerushalmi holds that it's because of the mortal danger to the person being pursued, because let's say a homosexual is running after a male, so he'll likely fight that homosexual rapist and he'll be killed in the battle. So it's not because of the severity of the sin, but rather because of the dangerous situation. So the nafkamina would be, in this case, of a damsel in distress who's not an Aram Rasa. So according to the Bible, it could be that you wouldn't be allowed to save her by killing the pursuer, because not as so heinous a crime. But whereas in the case of the Yerushalmi, they were afraid that this girl will resist and therefore she'll die, so then you would be allowed to save her, which is interesting enough, Kamina. Okay?
I think Yerushalmi's right.
Okay, so it's not for us to decide, but Avlarode Vachar Behema makes sense to the end of the Mishnah, because already it says Avlarode Vachar Behema, so it's pursuing an animal, and Mechalos or Shabbos, or you see somebody running to be Mechalos Shabbos, but it's Chum, is going to worship Avodah Zarah. So in these cases, Ein Matzil Noisa Benafsha, we don't save them by killing, save them from the Avera by killing them. So again, according to Yerushalmi, it would be because there's no danger to other human life in this case. According to the Bible, it's because either these Averas are not so severe, or because these cases, based in was not good, since they don't concern other individuals, so there's no license to go and kill the pursuer.
Avodah Zarah is severe.
What?
Avodah Zarah is severe. That's, maybe not the base.
Yeah, but
Avodah
Zarah. It doesn't involve another person, so therefore, yeah. Even going to Yerushalmi Bavli, it's also because it involves another person. Somebody's pursuing his friend to kill him. He'll be in the house in the fields. We save him by killing the pursuer. Echad Roiv Achar Chaver L'Hargo is true about somebody pursuing his friend to kill him. Echad Roiv Achar Kol Shar Aver Shabbatayla, and somebody pursues any other Aver in the Torah, which we assume means another individual for the purpose of any Aver in Torah. Matzino Samanavsham. We save the person by killing the pursuer. If this is a case where a Kohen Gadol is running after Almana, some Kohen Gadol, right? He's running down the street to Kohen Gadol and his chesed and pursuing this. Pursuing the Havzil, yes, pursuing this Almana. Or Grusha Chalutza Kohen Hediot, a Kohen Hediot is pursuing a Grusha Chalutza. Mamzeres Nesina Yisrael, regular Yisrael is pursuing a Mamzeres or Nesina. Basel Notzi the Mamzer Notzi pursuing a regular Yisraelis. Ematli Notzi Manavshel, one cannot save the victim with the soul of the pursuer. Which sounds like, even according to, when you see here clearly that we draw the line, according to this Brisa, would seem, even according to Yerushalmi, by a lesser Aveira, we don't interfere. It's an interesting thing. It's a kind of shocking thing.
Think that the Kohen Gadol is going to kill the woman who's pursuing.
It could be that she's not going to resist. That's the idea. In other words, she's not going to resist. So obviously the Yerushalmi's dichotomy is not necessarily, actually, well, let's see in a minute. Says the Mara, Maisa, also if it's after the deed, we don't kill the pursuer after the deed, taking the basin and come, we want to come back. In Yeshua Mosheim, also there are other ways of saving the pursued victim. We don't kill the pursuer. Rabbi Yehuda says, Im Omra Hanachlo, if she says, leave him alone, in other words, once the rape, she says, let him rape me, so don't kill him. Because in that case, the contrary might occur, that if they protest, then they might come to cause death. In other words, if she's willing not to resist, so that way it's more likely that we'll save lives by not interfering. And it's only because she may resist that we save life by interfering. So actually, when I said the Yerushalmi Shita, I really meant Rabbi Yehuda's Shita. Because he is the one who says it depends on the danger to life. I don't know what it could be that the other opinion in the Yerushalmi shows how Mother Kohen Gadol for Brisa, which is quoted by the Bavli as well, which holds, when Kohen Gadol pursues an Almana, they don't say it stops them. Could be that whole taka holds like the Bavli. So I'm not sure what exactly the dichotomy is. I don't know exactly what the where the line lies. Is it a total Machlokas Bavli Yerushalmi, the Machlokas just being Rabbi Yehuda and the other Bavli Yerushalmi, but there's some issue here. Okay.
Well, it's also the victim is a nar, whether she's Muras or not. She's a virgin, and
it doesn't matter.
Do that, and this is a Mona or a Grusha.
No distinction. No, there wouldn't be any distinction. Okay, it says she's a Dam Milsa. This is clear. A murderer who kills, who breaks Kalim, or Shazik or damages. There it says Chayil L'Shaim, but it obviously, one could fetch it out, but it's more obvious to say it's a Machlok and say Pater L'Shaim, that it's Pater because of killing Rabbaneh, right? Because he's a Gavrak Tila, he himself is as if he's dead because anybody can kill him. The Machlok is like we had before when you come out of the Machteres. So too when he comes out of the murder, he's coming back to the city. In other words, he's running back to the city after having done the murder. He thinks he'll slip into the marketplace and disappear. So in that case, if he breaks him, then so Rabbi Zia, Rabbi Yeshua, Chadamai Nosidam. One says he's liable. Chadamai Ein Nosidam. The other says at that point he's still no longer liable.
You say he comes back from the murder. You meant he comes back from the burglary.
No, we're talking about Rotzeach now. It's a murderer. Okay? Before we said something similar by the burglar, right? Rav Huna says on the way back from the burglary, he's still part of the Balbos can still kill him and be potter because of Kiyecham Levavo. And here is a similar idea that Rotzeach, the way back from the murder, is still a Gavra Ktila, right? And so, and therefore, if he breaks Kalim, he's exempt. I think it's really now. It's a very big issue. And I don't know if they discussed it here. I really didn't think about it this morning. But a very big issue, Machlokas Raman Ravid, whether Goyal Adam can kill him now before he gets to court, or the Goyal Adam has to take him to court. So the Rama is one who says the Goyal Adam can kill him at this point. So therefore, it makes sense to say that he's a Gavra Ktila right now. He's still killing Rabbaneh. According to Raiva, the Goyal Adam is not supposed to kill him at this point. Perhaps that's exactly Machlokas here, whether he's considered to be a dead person walking right now or not a dead person walking.
Isn't he fair game until he makes it to the...
That's Machlokas Raman Ravid, whether he's fair game until he makes it to the basin, or he's only fair game after basin pronounces his penalty. That's Machlokas Raman Ravid. Note that. Okay. So interesting, because according to the Rambam, the Goyal Adam is really an avenger. According to the Raiva, the Goyal Adam is really like a DA. You know, he's like the district attorney who's supposed to make sure the case is prosecuted. So, like, different opinions on the Goyal Adam. Okay. Says the Gemara, the Rodev is now being pursued by what? No. By the pursued. The pursuer was pursuing the pursued. Now the pursued turns around and is pursuing the pursuer. Okay? Not just the posse, the pursuer himself. Can you kill he who was until a few months ago pursued, now that he's pursuing his pursuer? Okay? Yerushalmi is not going to answer this question, of course. Gadol shenasa katan. Similarly, a gadol who became a katan, meaning that an adult was pursuing a child, and now the child turns around and is pursuing the adult. But of course, previously you could save the life of this adult above the minor by saving by killing the adult. But what about now? Can you kill the minor to save the adult? And a katan, of course, is not as liable for his deeds. Maybe he's not supposed to be killed, but it's not a baradas, right? So it says, what's the shaila? Haste Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Yirmiyah asked, that's not an issue. But then we learned Yotza Rosh of Rubo a Nogimbo. It says if you have a child who's being born, and his head is crowned, meaning his head and most of his torso has come out. I think in also it doesn't necessarily say Rubo. I think it just says Rosho. Well, I don't recall correctly. I think it might just say Rosho. And amen, ain't Nogibo. We can't touch him anymore. In other words, even the mother's going to die. As a result, we don't touch the infant, right? So therefore, if that's the case, we see clear that if a katan is pursuing a gadol, we don't kill the katan to save the gadol, right? Says the Gemara, because you don't push off one soul for another. Rabbi Chisra said, no, Shani Tamon, top on base. There it's even She'ena Yodeh Miho Ragas Me. You don't know who's killing whom. So it's by a case where an infant possibly being born is killing the mother, so then it's not clear who the rodef is that you should get involved. It's the mother being rodef the child, or the child being rodef the mother. So therefore, since it's not clear who's killing whom, that's why in that case you actually leave it alone and let nature run its course as opposed to interfering. So it's not that you don't kill a katan in order to save a gadol whom the katan is pursuing. Rather, in this specific case, you don't know who's the pursued and who's the pursuer to determine who to kill and who not to kill.
Well, in the childbirth process, you know who the rodef is until the head is shown.
Right.
And once that is shown, he's a bria.
That's right. That's exactly why until that is shown, you kill the flood. Afterwards, you don't know who to kill anymore, so you just let nature run its course. Okay? Tanya Rabbi Shimon Omer. second line down, 88. Avodah Zarah, he argues in our Mishnah. He says, if somebody's going to serve Avodah Zarah, we kill him. Yeah, like you said in the Mishnah. We kill him in order to prevent him from worshiping Avodah Zarah. So if for the honor of human beings we save him, meaning for the honor of we honor to save a person who's being pursued by his friend, you kill the pursuer. So certainly because of Kodesh Baruch Hu's honor, or that Hashem should not be degraded by this person's deed. So therefore we kill the pursuer.
Now maybe I'm simplifying it, but those are the big three. That's Yehorav Al Yavo.
Yeah, Arias.
And the Baruch.
Yeah, well, it could be. Those big three. Okay.
Sure did. I have my priorities straight.
Okay, I just want you guys to know that both of you missed the interesting part. Till now was the interesting part, and you missed it. That's right. Okay.
You missed the interesting part.
Yeah.
You videotape it.
But honor of Hashem, I really
want to
do moral talk about
4-1.
Avodah Zarah denigrates God, so it's flip side of that is honor of Hashem.
I understand that is correct.
What about the devil's loss?
You're losing loss.
So but that's what it means here in this context. It could mean different things in different contexts. What the Maharal uses it for is not necessarily means over here.
No, he used to say that God created the world and the only one is on it. Whatever that means.
Yeah, the Maharal is that it's very difficult Maharal. So it's very hard to understand that.
Just a new paradigm.
Okay, it's very difficult. I'm familiar with that. It's very difficult. Okay. Like I said, that was the end of the interesting part. All you guys who came late missed it. We are
At least he wasn't watching Survivor.
now we're doing
Fight over bar with the Dave.
now we're doing the boring part. Okay, this back to Yavamas. The rest of the
Rome.
The rest of the word is Yavamas, straight Yavamas. Eilan Yisravin. There's a penalty for coming late. Eilan Yisravin. Habal Ishabita. These are people who are burnt. At least we have some violence here. These are people who are burnt whatever way where we kill people by burning. These are they. Habal Ishabita, some relations with a mother and her daughter. Ubas Kohen, and the daughter of a Kohen who's Mizana. Yesh B'chal Ishabita, included in mother and daughter is Bito, is your daughter, Ubas Bito, and your granddaughter, Ubas Bino, either through your daughter or through your son, Ubas Ishto, and your wife's daughter, Ubas Bito, and her daughter's daughter, Ubas Bino, and her son's daughter as well. So all these people are burnt to death. Talmud even learned over there, Nosim ala nusa v'ala mefuta. You can marry on a woman who's raped and on a woman who's seduced. Now, what does that mean? Kini masisu, as Mishnah means, if you raped a woman, you can marry her daughter, or vice versa. You raped a woman, you can marry her mother. Achar nusa, after you raped a woman, or achar mfuta, seduced a woman, you can marry her mother or daughter. Anas isha, and that's Gemara explains. Anas isha mutar be'ima. If you raped a woman, you're allowed to marry her mother. Pito isha, if you seduced a woman, mutar bebito, you're allowed to marry her daughter. However, vice versa, you married a woman, and then you raped or seduced her daughter, or married a woman, or raped and then raped or seduced her mother. Chayav, you are liable for the capital crime mentioned in Mishnah of Isha Bita, or a mother-daughter type relationship. Okay, so is that clear? If you rape the susma, what?
It's an araya. Once he's married, then
right, but not once you raped or seduced her.
Right, because it's before marriage, so it's just it's a isha fiyah.
Okay, if you raped or seduced, let's take names. Okay, just to make it easy. Okay, if you raped or seduced, what? No, we need names from Tanakh. Oh, it's not going to work. If you raped or seduced Leo, you could still marry
Well, no.
Dina,
Oh, Dina?
who's Delah's daughter.
What?
No, I thought you could marry his...
No, we're not talking about
No,
sisters.
not a
Though.
sister, daughter or...
We're talking about daughters here. Okay?
Daughter or...
We'll get there, actually, sister.
Oh, okay.
So you rape or seduce Leah, you can then marry Dina. If you rape or seduce Dina, you can then marry Leah. But if you married Leah, you can't rape or seduce Dina. If you marry Dina, you can't rape or seduce Leah. Okay?
That would be correct.
What?
That's always been true.
What do you mean it's always been true?
You can't,
You mean
if you marry one, you can't sleep with another or with
that's what it said. Okay? It's been true since Yevamos, because that's what it was established. Okay? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan argues. Rabbi Yochanan says, Derech Nisom, Rabbi Yochanan, Derech Nisuin Shano. No. Only if you marry this, it's taka only also. If you married Leah, it's forbidden to marry Dina. If you marry Dina, it's forbidden to marry Leah. But if you did it derech nus, you don't transgress the pro. It's also, but not the same isser. What? No, it's actually based on the pasuk itself, because in the pasuk itself it says, Yishra b'tol lo yikochu, or something like that. Or yikach ishas yishra v'asimo be'esh yisrfu. So it uses the word kicha. It uses the word kicha, which means, of course, kedushin. So therefore, it sounds like the prohibition is linked to some form of marriage. Okay? Well, it's not so wacky. So it says more further, Nasa isha v'achakach onases ima chayav. If you married a woman and then you raped her mother, you're liable. Nasa isha v'achakach Pitar's bitar. One second. And was this actually going back to Rabbi Yochanan? 1 second.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah. That's ima chayav. If you married a woman and then you raped her mother, you're liable. If you married a woman and then seduced her daughter, you're chayav. Now I'm wondering if I was right about that. Rabbi Yochanan argues on that, because it sounds like it's going to Rabbi Yochanan. 1 second.
I'm not sure what we're going to ask.
I'll tell you. So I made a mistake. I see the Ridbaz now. I didn't go far enough in the Ridbaz. Ridbaz says like this. It has to be that Rabbi Yochanan says, what I learned Rabbi Yochanan is incorrect. What Rabbi Yochanan actually says is that you have to still be married to woman X when you rape or seduce her daughter or her mother in order to be chayav. Okay, if you're not married to her, then it's not a chiyuv anymore. Of course, unless she's biologically related to you. But in other words, Tanakama says, if you marry a woman and then you divorce her or she dies, and you rape or seduce her daughter subsequently, or rape or seduce her mother subsequently, you're liable. If you don't know, it's only if at this point in time you're still married to that woman that you're liable. Okay? So that's the machlokes. So you don't have to rape or seduce you don't have to marry the second woman in order to be liable. Rather, you rape or seduce the second woman, but you still have to be married to the first woman in order to be liable. Okay? So now it says, if you marry a woman, and then while you're still married to her afterwards, you rape her mother, you're liable. Chayiv. Now, say you marry a woman, and then you rape her daughter, chayiv, you're liable as well. Rabbi Elazar said, Rabbi Elazar says that Rabbi Yochanan and Benuri both said the same thing, which is a new issue. The Tiyatam we learned over there, Shachta, you slaughter a cow. There's Bas Bita and the cow's granddaughter. And then you shech the cow's daughter. So you shechted 3 generations, right? So how many times do you transgress also Vespino, the prohibition of slaughtering a mother and daughter in the same day? Right? Also Vespino lo sishchatu b'yom echad. How many times you transgressed it here? 2, but you did it with one fell swoop, right? Because you slaughtered first generation 1, then generation 3, then went back to generation 2. Okay? So in that case, Tanakama says, you only get 40 lashes. Because although you did 2 osos, but no, you did it 1 action. So somebody shared Meir, someone's name said Meir, Shmonim, you get 80 lashes. You transgress 2 Isurim, you have to do it simultaneously, but you transgress 2. So that's over there by Shchita. Tamatina by women, same thing, right? Rabbi Yochanan Menuri says, Haboel Chamoiso. Some isolations with his mother-in-law. Chayav oleh mishum chamoso, he's liable because of mother-in-law. Ve'em chamoso, and his mother-in-law's mother, ve'em chamiv, and his father-in-law's mother. Now, this is a case actually I copied down here the table from my Nachas Tzvi, but this is a case, I'm not going to show it to you because it's too small and also painful. But if you have a woman, a guy has relations with 3 women. He has relations with his mother-in-law, he marries 3 women actually. He marries 3 women. He marries his mother-in-law's daughter, which is of course his wife. No. He has relations with 1 woman. Sorry. He's married to 3 women, has relations with 1 woman. He's married to his mother-in-law's daughter, okay? That's one of his wives, obviously. It's his mother-in-law's daughter you can marry, right? That's how she became your mother-in-law to begin with. He's married to his mother-in-law's granddaughter, which is his wife's niece, by another daughter, and to his mother-in-law's granddaughter by his first wife's nephew as well. So he's married to a woman and her 2 nieces. One niece through a sister and another niece through a brother. Okay?
That's all legal.
That's all legal. Now, after marrying these 3 wives, he has relations with his mother-in-law, who's also the grandmother of his 2 other wives. Okay? So the 3 prohibitions, when he adds a spear with this mother-in-law, the 3 prohibitions in one fell swoop. Mother-in-law, grandmother-in-law through the male line, grandmother-in-law through the female line. Is that more or less understandable? Okay? So how many prohibitions do you try? How many times do we burn him at the stake? So that's the question. Do we burn him once or 3 times? Okay? So it was 1 biyah. Right? 1 biyah. So it says he's liable 3. That's Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Below they said Shloshim Shem Echanim. They're all 1 name. In other words, he's only liable 1. Okay? The generations up or down are considered to be 1 prohibition. Rabbi Yochanan said, Mo the Sumchus concedes. It should be Barishoyna. It's what it says in the Yavamas. Sumchus concedes in the first case. I mean, Sumchus concedes that in the case of Osoves, in the case of not Osoves, no, that was Kisoy, but in the case of the mother-in-law, that there's only considered to be 1 prohibition, and you only get 1 flogging. Ashkatai, they found no, the machlokas. He argues there too, just like he argues by Osoves Beno and says there are multiple Yisurim. So 2 years says multiple Yisurim as well. My time, Rabbi Yochanan, what's like Rabbi Yochanan Nuri, who says that there are 3 prohibitions. Ma'isho bito ubas bito b'shnei labin, just like a daughter and her, a woman and her daughter, a mother-daughter relationship, and her granddaughter, right? If you have relations with a woman and her daughter and her granddaughter, b'shnei labin, there are 2 prohibitions, 1 for the daughter, 1 for the granddaughter. Avisha, so too a woman who bas beno, a woman and her meaning a daughter and a granddaughter through a son, who bas bita, The word b'na ubas are missing there. Instead of word bita, it should be bas bita, bas b'no, bas bita, vishnei lavin. They're separate prohibitions, even though it's one body, but it's separate prohibitions. Matam the Rabbanan, top of Memem, without what's large Rabbanan, who say it's all one prohibition. Ma bas b'no, bas bita, b'lav echot. Just like the granddaughters are both the same prohibition. It's because there's bas b'no, there's bas bita, lo sikach. Right, do not take the granddaughters. Af isha, so to isha, and throw the word ubita and her daughter bas bita, bas b'no, b'lav echot. The dog is said to be one lav, and I'm not going to get into psukim right now because it's too arcane. But it's all one lav, and therefore only one prohibition. Ksiv it says ervas isha ubito los galei. It says the erva of the mother and daughter do not reveal. Ksiv it says isha yikachas isha vesimo zimohi. It says if a man takes his mother and daughter, it's a zima. Now the problem is b'kulan ksiv shchiva. By all rights, it says he's not allowed to lay. But Baksiv Lakicha. Here it says something about marrying. So normally the prohibition is on the bio, but here it seems like the prohibition is on the act of marriage. How can that be the case? So it says the Mara Lilmoda teaches us Shenu Chayav al Shniya. It teaches us that you're not liable on the second one. Ad Shetei Lakuchalo until the first one is still married to him, which is like Rabbi Yochanan said way back when. You're only liable on the second one you take if you're still married to the first one, not if you've already been divorced or widowed from the first one. Okay? Is that clear? Okay, it only becomes bas b'no, bas bita, or bita if you're still married to this woman. Okay? Says perhaps that's not true. Perhaps you're only liable if it's done derech nisuin. In other words, that the second one has to taka be married, right? In other words, you have to marry the daughter in order to be liable. Like the Pasuk Shah Pasuk, the Pasuk says, Ki yikach, lo bas b'no bas bito lo sikach. So maybe taka not liable on the second prohibition. On this, the mother or daughter would never come second, unless you attempt to marry the mother or daughter. Okay? Maybe znus is not enough to go. Like I said before, I made a mistake in Rabbi Yochanan, but here the Gemara uses that svara. And maybe the second one cannot be only a prohibition via marriage, because there's no marriage. The marriage would be a sham, a farce. So therefore, by definition, it's got to just be znus. If that's the case, so why does it say lakicha? So therefore, I must say lakicha to teach us that you still have to be married to the first one in order to transgress on the second one whom you're raping or seducing. Okay? Says Moravak, say now we're going to go, once we're on the exciting and thrilling topic, we're going to go to all the Psukim Torah where it says Kiyikach, it says Kicha, which is mashma state of Kiddushin, an issue of Erva, where Kiddushin does not take effect. So the question is why the word Kicha was thrown into a pasuk where it's totally irrelevant, okay? And we have several psukim like that in the Torah. Okay? Don't demonstrate your excitement.
No.
Try and restrain yourself. Okay. So says the Gemara further. Roxy doesn't say Lo yikach ishas eshes aviv lo yiganes kanaf aviv. Do not take your father's wife, nor reveal the corner of your father's garment. So wait a minute, you can't marry his wife anyway, right? There's no kiddushin. Balo diachos, as Chen tells you the following: Shaya mutar ba. We're talking about a case where she was permitted to you, ad shelo nises loviv. In other words, it's going to tell you that specifically the case where your father married her, that's to make it prohibited. Let's say your father didn't marry her but raped or seduced her, so then she remains permitted to you. In other words, you can marry a woman who's raped or seduced by your father. It's only if your father married her, then she becomes off limits to you. Okay? So that's why it says kicha, in order to stress that your father had to have been lokecher in order for her to become aser. So it says, more weiter, v'tuvan, another interpretation. V'tuvan literally, I'm not sure exactly what tuvan means literally, and the Pnei Moshe changes the girsa. Korban does keep it, and it says that tuvan means we can respond another way. Aidei yibum, that there's a certain case where you can acquire your I skipped, I'm sorry. I skipped. Sorry, scratch that. Let me go back to the lines because I skipped the lines. It says if you again marry your brother's wife. What's it going to tell us? Obviously, if you have relations with your brother's wife, you don't marry her liable. So it says the Gemara, it's going to tell us so if your brother had not married her, just raped or seduced her, she would have been mutter to you. The Tuvan, another pshat is, it's going to tell us that sometimes you do have the right to be lokeach to marry your brother's wife. When can you marry your brother's wife? Obviously, Ayidei Libu, right. Foxy, what about the next case? It says, two sisters, Lozikach you should not take. So again, what is it going to tell us there? There it's Pashut, right? Says more, Bolo Diach is going to tell us, Shayom Mutar Achelona Sa'achosa, that until you married sister number one, sister number two would be permitted to you. Even if you raped or seduced sister number one, sister number two would still be permitted to you. So it's going to tell us that the only thing which caused the prohibition is the actual marriage. Okay? Says more, or another interpretation is that sometimes you can marry your wife's sister. When is that? If your wife died, you can marry her sister subsequently. Okay? Says more, it says, if somebody takes or marries his sister, his father's daughter or his mother's daughter, and she sees his nakedness, he sees her nakedness. Peter and she sees his nakedness. Chesed, the pasuk says it's a chesed, which there, according to the simple meaning, means a repugnant chesed, a repugnant act of kindness, an incestuous act of kindness. So there, why does it say kicha? So here it's for a Gadic reason. Shalul Tomai, you shouldn't say kain nosas achoso. You shouldn't say, how come I can't marry my sister? Kain married his sister, right? Hevel nosas achoso. Hevel married his sister. So it says the Gemara, there was different. You know why that was different? I did a charity with the earlier generations, in order that the world should be built up from them. That's why I allowed them to marry incestuously. Right? Because I said, Olam Chesed Bana, made the world be built on this type of chesed. So anyway, be that as may, what we're trying to prove here is why did it say kicha by your sister? So now it says kicha by your sister because there was one time in history when kicha by your sister was mutter. When is kicha by your sister mutter? Kind of hevel, right? Actually, it goes later than that because we know. I think that it could be different because they maybe had dinner with Bnei Noach, but the Shvatim. It says the Shvatim married their sisters. That they're twins, at least by Shimon. It says that Shimon married Dinah, right? They had a kid, Shaul ben Aknanis, right? So that's they say that was Dinah who did a Ma'aseh Knan. So I think there was also twins by the Shvatim. Do you remember that or not? Okay, so name it. So it means earlier generations. It means before Matan Torah. Okay. Says more further. Waksiv doesn't say Amana Gusha Chalol Zoynes El Loikach. It says you shouldn't marry Amana Gusha Chalol Zoynes. Again, the prohibition should be there's a Kohen on these Kohen Gadol, right? So prohibition should be the bia itself. But the Achel come tell us. If you did marry her, Im Kitchav, Kohen Gadol married this Amana Tav Sabakiyushin. For those of you who came late tonight, we had in the previous parak he was running after in order to rape her, right? Kohen Gadol was running down the Amana after Amana down the streets of Yerushalmi, right? So don't kill the Kohen Gadol to protect the Amana in that case. So obviously, because there is some sort of marriage which can be contracted, albeit not a particularly ethical marriage. Okay. Says Gemara, Rabuna Mar Akdum Bas Bitol Nisuin. Till now, I know your granddaughter, as a result of marriage, is forbidden to you. What about Bas Bitol Mina Ontin? What about if you rape? You are a woman and you have a granddaughter. Thereby, is she forbidden to you? See if it says it says the nakedness of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter. You should not reveal. You should not reveal their nakedness. I mean, what do we say about Im Nisuin? If it's a case where you were married to the grandmother, that's stated elsewhere. I mean, it's not necessarily actual marriage. So now it's learning about a case of rape. Akdum Bas Bito, it's about your granddaughter who's also to you, even in a case of rape, right? Bito Menan, how do you know if you raped a woman and had a daughter thereby that daughter is mutter to you? Okay? Interesting question, right? How do you know that your daughter via a rape is forbidden to you? I know it's a shocking havamina to me, but that's what the Gemara is saying, right? So it says the Gemara, Rav says the Kavachomer, Imal Bito, Bas Bito Musar, if on your granddaughter you're liable, Al Bito Lo Koshke, is not a Kavachomer liable on your daughter. Imal Bas Bito, Gosh, and if your granddaughter you get Kores, Lo Koshke Al Bitos, do not certainly get Kores on your daughter. Now, the Gemara here really should have, which is Chaz and Yavomas, I think. Rabbi Shmuel, what about according to Rabbi Shmuel? The Rabbi Shmuel Amar, Rabbi Shmuel says, L'meidi mikal v'chomer, you can derive these mikal v'chomer, vein onshi mikal v'chomer. You can't learn an ownership of mikal v'chomer. In other words, you can't learn a prohibition of mikal v'chomer, but you can't learn the punishment of mikal v'chomer. So how do you know that in this case there's a kores, right? Or malchus? So it says, Ma'ashka Klein, they found a price, which says, Chizkiya, Tani Chizkiya, Ubat Ishkoi Kohen Kisa Chelis Nos. If you have the daughter of a man who's a Kohen who begins to be licentious. Matam Lomar Ish. Why say the daughter of a man? Let's just say the daughter of a Kohen. Elavi Abba Bito Min Onsim, who's going to tell us a Chiddush. If somebody's relationship, which is not directly relevant to the Pasuk, but it's inferred from the actual word of the Pasuk. If somebody has relations with his daughter, from who's his daughter via rape, in other words, that he didn't actually get married to the mother, so then Shu B'Sreifa, nevertheless he gets burnt. Okay, so that's what it tells. Says the Gemara, I don't know exactly how it works, because how does the extra ish work to teach us this thing that every time it's your daughter, regardless of whether it's your daughter via marriage or not, but somehow this extra ish is a silver bullet which solves that problem. Okay? So it says the Gemara, Ravuna Shama Kulon Minacha. Ravuna learned out all the burnings from here. From where? Ervas Isho Bitolos Kale. It says the nakedness of a woman and her daughter is not revealed. Uksim, it says if somebody marries a woman and her mother, Zimahi. It's a licentious connection. Zima looks Yerushalmi. Oh, once you have the word Zima, there are many places in Chumash, several places I should say, where the word Zima applies, appears, and they're all Yerushalmi to this case over here. And we learn just like it's 3 generations below, right? Your wife, your daughter, your granddaughters. So to on high, it's 3 generations. Your mother-in-law, your grandmother-in-law, and your great-grandmother-in-law. Right? Mile matam below, so I say just like on the way down. 2 generations, there's a lav. Afla malon, so to going up the generations a little, so I say there's a lav as well. Mile matam there, just like going down, somebody, you have to be married to the mother in order for the daughter-in-law, the stepdaughter and the step-granddaughter to be usher. Mom derech nisuin, so to on a high, going back to mothers-in-law, it has to be derech nisuin in order for those stepmothers to be also stepmothers-in-law. Ma'amat b'sreifa, just like going down the line, it's burning. After ma'amat b'sreifa, just like so to going up the line, it's burning. Ma'amat osaba ba'zocher kebas nekeva, which is like going down the line. Makes a difference if it's your granddaughter through your son, your granddaughter through your daughter, right? Aflumalan, so to an eye, going up generations to your mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law and so on and so forth. Nasa Bazor Gavasagib, it doesn't matter if it's going through the male or the female line. Okay? Says more further, now here it's messed up. So from Ukra Meir for the next about 7 or 8 lines, Gears is messed up. And let's see it instead in Pnei Moshe. Pnei Moshe is in the medium-sized lines. Let's see, inner margin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 lines down in the medium-sized line. We see the Ukra Meir there, and 6 lines down the medium-sized lines? Okay? Ukra Meir, Hashtamada Daik by Bryce. Now we're going back to analyze the Bryce further, because this is the way to read it. Ukra Meir, Ukra Meir, the Meir Mar Gzeir Shava b'Makom Shabasa. The Gzeir Shava can teach us the prohibition, but it has to go according to the definitions of the rules in how should I put it? No, it's not where you learn from, but the limitations of the place itself. Yeah. I think I gave that right. Let me know. 1 second. What did you say?
The place from which you derive the Yerushalmi.
She's right. I'm wrong. Okay. You're right. So, in other words, I may have learned out the parameters from the place where you derive it from. And like Pnei Moshe says, it goes by the place through which you learn from. How will the 3rd generation up that there's burnings? There are no burnings mentioned in Chumash vis-a-vis the 3rd generation going down. Okay? Rabbis say, well, Gzeir Shava still leaves local drushes intact. We know that there is a prohibition which generates a chiyuv misa on the 3rd generation up. But how do we know that there's a lav attached to it? Bein Rabbanan, Bein Rabbi Meir, and Bein Rabbanan, Bein Rabbi Meir, Dor Shlishi L'Mala Minayin. The 3rd generation up, how we know that they are prohibited? Is that the way you read it? The Rabbanan say, where's the 3rd generation down? And so I skipped. That's what my problem is. Let me read from the beginning of Pnei Moshe again. It goes by the place. From where you came. The 3rd generation of Minayim True B'Sreif, I know that it is burning. Doesn't say it over there. Even according to rabbis, Gzeir Shava Kamar Ba, Gzeir Shava follows parameters mentioned there. Dor Shlishim Milamalon, the 3rd generation going up, Minayim True Belosa, say, where do we find the lav? It's not clear where the lav is. Bein Rabbanan, Bein Rabbi Meir, Dor Shlishim Milamalon Minayim, regardless, where do we find the punishment for the 3rd generation going up, the mother-in-laws, and so on and so forth. Okay, the bottom line is we're missing psukim. I don't know exactly what psukim we're missing, how we're missing them, but somehow we're missing psukim. Says, and we're getting back to the bar. Rabbi Yossi, which is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines down from where we were. Rabbi Yossi says, became the Zima Kamisha Kulem Khan. You know what? It says the word Zima all over the place, so that makes sure that any missing lavim, any missing onshim, any missing krisos, they're all shared between all the various places where the word zima occurs. So again, to be honest with you, I didn't take the time or the inclination to actually figure out how it works out. We're just going to take it on faith, right? And this is where it says word zima many times. That means that whatever prohibitions, every negatives, everything which occur, they occur all over. Now the truth is, it's not so easy to work then for Rabbi Shmuel. As Rabbi Shmuel holds ein onshim min adin. But I have to say it's only b'kav v'chomer, because Shava overcomes that. When it's kav v'chomer, ein onshim min adin, ein masir min adin, you have to make a logic, but Shava defeats all those things and actually does work to make all these limudim. Okay, we'll stop here for today, and we'll pick up with this again on Monday.